Now, as many of you know, I'm very interested in megalithic stones. Why were these megalithic stones, stone circles, stone avenues, the dolmens, the long barrows? Who created them? Why were they there? What were their uses? And of course there's many different theories by many different people. And Mr. Gurdjieff himself went looking for these kinds of places. He went looking for dolmens and standing stones and megaliths. And he talks about this in Meetings with Remarkable Men. In the chapter The Material Question, he discusses how he was going looking for them. And I'm going to read a little bit from Meetings with Remarkable Men. Quote, I should mention here that for many years I had been interested in an archaeological question, and in order to clarify certain details I needed to find out as much as possible about the situation and pattern of arrangement of those monuments called dolmens, which have survived from very ancient times and can be found in our day in certain specific locations on almost every continent. I had definite information that such dolmens were to be found in many places in the Caucasus, and even knew the approximate location of some of them as indicated by official science. Although I had never had enough time for a systematic exploration of these places, nevertheless, during my frequent trips through the mountains of the Caucasus and Transcaucasia, I had never missed an opportunity for going to see them, choosing for this the times least detrimental to the pursuit of any fundamental aim. As a result of what I had already discovered myself, it had become quite clear to me that in the regions between the eastern shores of the Black Sea and the chain of the Caucasus Mountains, especially in the neighbourhood of certain passes I had not as yet been over, dolmens were to be found, standing singly and also in little groups, of a particular type which would be of great interest to me. So, as I found myself cut off from the world, with my activities brought to a standstill by the situation which had arisen, I decided to use the time at my disposal for a special expedition to these regions of the Caucasus, in order to search for and examine these dolmens, and at the same time bring both myself and the people in my care into safety." End quote. He goes on to talk about how he had to get official permission to do this because there was wars going on at this time, and he was able to procure a official permission because he was organising a scientific expedition into these mountains in search of these dolmens. I myself am intrigued as to why he was looking at these megalithic stones and dolmens and what it was that he believed was important about them. Obviously, through Beelzebub's Tales, he talks about the creation, and well, not the creation of the human race, but the rising up of the human race and how it came to be. And so he was obviously looking for what was happening with the ancients in the olden times, whether it was druids or pagans or whatever. I'd love to know what it was that he was coming to the conclusions of about these stones. Were they leading to portals? Were they leading to certain special sacred places? Are they all on ley lines where there's certain energies that he could use for, for either detrimental or hopefully for beneficial purposes? I myself have seen over the years how the standing stones and megalithic stones can give off certain vibrations, different vibrations, depending on the shape of the moon at the time. Whether it's full moon, they seem to be on a bit of a higher vibration, and on a new moon, they're on a bit of a lower vibration. And I've been on courses where you can see that the vibrations change through these dolmens. One must remember that many of these dolmens are made of quartz stone, so they have crystalline energies within, or crystalline substances within them that help create and vibrate with energies. And Mr. Gurdjieff himself talks about crystals very much and how we should be crystallizing ourselves. I too have often been megalithic hunting around the world, and I walked in the steps of Mr. Gurdjieff himself when I went to Armenia to visit various stone circles and stone lines and avenues. And with all my photographs of the megaliths that I've collected, taken myself over the years, I've made this diary for 2025 called Solstice Megalithic Stone Diary 2025, available through me or through Amazon. but it's all my designs, all my photos of various sites, including the ones in Armenia, in USA and around the UK, and even one from Sweden, I believe, is in there. So if you want a diary for next year, it's a week-to-week diary, please buy one. Continuing with meetings with remarkable men, in the same chapter, Gurdjieff doesn't give much away about what happened in the expedition when they were looking for all the dolmens. He writes, about this part of the expedition from Kumichiki over the White River past to Sochi, across the wilds of the Caucasian range, a journey which lasted about 2 months, filled with strange and even extraordinary adventures, I will not say anything. And this is because, according to information which has reached me, a description of this escape of ours from the centre of hell to its edge, through the almost impassable wilds of these mountains, as well as of our successful investigation of dolmens, and of all the visible and hidden riches of this region, has already been written and will doubtless soon be published by certain members of this singular scientific expedition, who subsequently returned to Russia and are now cut off from the rest of the world." End quote. I want to read those singular scientific expeditions. Does anybody know where they are? Are they hidden away in some Foundation archives, or does somebody have these? Because they would be very interesting reading for those of us that are megalithomaniacs. Gurdjieff goes on to write, the group of people around me on this journey happened quite unexpectedly to be of such diverse types and education as could not have been more suitable for the aims of our expedition, and they very effectively helped me to resolve the problem of the dolmens. Among them were very good technicians and specialists in various branches of science, mining and other engineers, as well as specialists in archaeology, astronomy, zoology, medicine and other fields of knowledge. And I'm going to end the quote there because I find it quite interesting that we don't know more about what happened on that expedition. I was lucky enough to go to Armenia with the Bennetts, with Ben Bennett and his lovely wife Cindy back in a few years ago. So I got to go to Armenia and have a look at the standing stones there and the great big stone circle at Garahunj, of which I've done other videos on. And the pictures in this video are of my own photography of that time there. I think it was a great honour to walk in the path of Gurdjieff, and I would love to be able to understand or even know what it was his thoughts were on megalithic stones. For I think megalithic stones are just an amazing part of our history, and it's a gap that we really need to know more about. So thank you for watching. I urge you to read Meetings with Remarkable Men, for those of you that like Gurdjieff, because it talks all about his early travels and his life as a youth, and goes on to obviously speak about meeting with remarkable men. And I urge you all to go and look at a standing stone, or buy my diary if you want a diary for next year. So thank you everybody, until next time, peace and out.